Is our purple player at the right-hand side of the map. He wants this to be the terminus of this series. By winning this game and closing out 2-0 he is.
OGS top.
OGS top. And here is our very regal Terran player. He's
Starting August.
August.
It's almost August, actually.
It is.
Got just a month left.
This guy, well, actually, I was going to say, even if he wins this, he won't be, well, I guess he could qualify next season and get in August, theoretically.
That would be the month to do it?
That would be the month to do it. I still think, well, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I don't know what I still think. This guy, everyone says it's August, and he could be after the month, but I think it's a possibility that he's August.
Yeah.
Like, it's August, like regal or kingly.
I mean,
I don't know.
There's a German name, Augustus.
That's true.
He's actually a character in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory as well. Augustus Gloop. You fan of that series?
The series?
Well, I not a series. Well, there's a book, there's a movie, then there's another movie.
That what's the name of that franchise? That's
Yes,
the one.
yes.
I've seen the movie. I've read the book.
Book's by Roald Dahl, I believe, actually. Who also wrote Matilda.
I have no idea.
If I remember correctly, someone's gonna message me on Twitter like, "No, Wolf, it's by such and such author." I'm pretty sure I'm right though.
We'll be able to fill you in by the end of the game on that from Twitter, I imagine. By the way, while this Terran versus Terran is getting started up here, I am at Moletrap on Twitter. With me is at FXO Wolf.
Yep.
The FXO standing for FXO.
FX Open. It's a forex trading company. It's also the name of the team that's coming to participate in the GSTL.
Yeah, that is so cool that we're gonna have a foreign team participate in the GSTL. I'm really excited to see what they can do. Now, we do see no gas yet for Top, who is on top of the... he's not on top of the map. He's on the uppermost position.
Well,
2.
I was just gonna say, Moletrap,
Lost track of that one.
I was just gonna
That was
say,
like when you bowl like right down the middle of the lane and you're like, yes! And you turn around and just expect it to be like an awesome strike behind you and like it spins off into the gutter.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was like. I was just gonna say, Top is a player who last game did not fast expand, and it's kind of a role reversal here because August is making a factory, taking his second gas immediately. Now, this map is actually a map that caters itself to fast expands for multiple reasons. One, it's a very narrow choke point, so if you get your siege tanks up, it's very easy to defend. Not whereas last game you have a ramp, but it's a very wide ramp. There's also a place where your opponent can siege up and hit your mineral line at your natural. On this map, it's easy to take a third base after you already have that choke point secured, and that may be the plan that Top's got going for this map. He may actually be thinking, okay, you're not going to expect me to do what you just did. I'm going to do it. Now, August...
Maybe that's what he wants him to think, though.
Pre-Igniter Hellions coming up.
I am so excited about that. I love Pre-Igniter Hellions. Pre-Igniter Hellions, it looks like it's going to be a drop as well. He's producing Hellions. He's got the starport going. It's a very common build. We can basically time out the upgrade and 3 Hellions and a medevac at about exactly the same time. So you can get the 3 Blue Flame Hellion drop very quickly. And if your opponent does not expect it and anticipate it and respond to it, you can take out every single SCV they have pretty quickly.
That's true, but on the other hand, if your opponent does respond to it properly and completely denies it, you can possibly lose the game because you're so far behind at that point.
You need to do damage.
Now, at these positions, it makes it very easy to do that kind of a drop because the main base of Top is kind of aligned. He doesn't have to fly around any units or anything like that. You can just sneak right into the back. Uh-oh, scan.
That. Simultaneous scans. Oh, he sees the tech lab on the factory next to the starport. He's got to know what's going on now. Is he responding? He is, in fact, moving his Marines to the back of his base or to the side of his base in anticipation of a drop. So this could be very, very bad for August if this gets shut down without doing any damage.
In fact, he's making a siege tank as well, and as soon as that tank pops out, drop is essentially shut down. But it looks like August may want to move through the middle of the map instead.
Interesting.
Remember, through all of this,
Sorry to cut you off. He might elevator everything up there. He's going to drop Marines first. Is he? Yes, Top sees it, but is he going to have enough forces to respond? Yes, he will. And he needs to get those Hellions in there or get the Marines out, and he does get the Marines out of there. Actually saves every Marine. And so this is kind of interesting situation. He hasn't done any damage. He knows the jig is up. But he still has kind of some map control here. He might expand off this and still retain some advantage.
Right. And that's what I wanted to mention right before that action happened, is that even though Top went for a build like August did last game, he actually hasn't moved his command center down yet, so he hasn't gotten that extra saturation yet. He's actually going to attack up here at the front. Just be very careful.
Yeah,
Does back those Marines away at the last second.
That Viking's going to make things a lot trickier. Oh, and actually, that Viking is slacking off as the medevac just chills there, and he's going to lose the Viking! Oh!
Maybe if Top, or August rather, were a little bit more decisive, you probably could have snapped that Viking's neck.
He didn't, though. That was... I don't know why he didn't, to be honest, but medevac has gotten away with its life at least, so the Hellions are still around, so Top still cannot take his expansion at this point. Not just yet.
This is just such a tense moment because usually it's like the drop, and then it's like, what does that drop do? And this time, it's just completely denied. He hasn't lost his stuff yet, but he's trying to find opening, and he just can't.
Yeah, he's looking around for openings right now. The Viking is trying to close off openings, but in the meantime, he did get a Banshee out as well, and the Viking spots the Banshee. Does he have Cloak? Cloak is almost completed. Is he going to get away in time? Does let that Viking, Banshee go away, rather. And I think that's smart because he didn't know if the medevac was going to drop in the other side.
I think
with the Hellions.
That's really cool. Top is actually like the egg you just can't crack right now.
Oh.
Banshee gets one kill, forces a scan. Here come the Hellions, though. How much damage can they do? Nice pull away by Top.
He's not clumped them, though. Actually, that was only like 5 SCVs for 3 Hellions. Not the best trade he could have hoped for. Top has just been macroing this whole time, and he does have a second base out now. So he's basically, like you said, he's the uncrackable egg. He hasn't been cracked at all yet, and it's just been building up a bigger army over time.
Look at that dropship getting caught by the Vikings. Top is like the all-seeing eye. Nothing escapes his gaze. Comes another Banshee. This Banshee like actually escaped his gaze.
He's the all-seeing eye with Vikings, man. Vikings that kill whatever they see in the sky. Is he gonna get? He does get a siege tank. He's gonna get an SCV as well. He's gonna get a scan down. That Banshee's almost out of energy. Actually, not that. Almost out of energy. So yeah, still trying to retain map control with these Banshees, but it looks like Top is moving out now.
Yeah, Top was able to get that saturation up. He's built up a huge SCV count from having that second command center earlier, even though he lost a few. Now he's got total map control with these units. Looks like August is going to try to move out as well, but Top just has a superior force. In fact, going to bring these Vikings in here as well. Does lose one of those Vikings. This is a tense mode. Both these players siege on the other side of this ridge.
Yeah, that little valley is like no man's land. That Marine just found that out the hard way. The rest of the Marines trying to charge into their deaths, but August doesn't let them.
Yeah, August actually positioned his siege tanks really nicely as far to the edge as he can get. He does have that vision advantage with the Viking. After he cleared out that Xel'Naga watchtower, that is.
Yeah. Yeah, taking up this position. These Marines keep walking just a little bit too close. Look at those little white dashes so close to each other. They're sieged up just barely outside of each other's range right now.
I like this by August. He's going to pick up some of these Marines and try to drop.
Top moving across, trying to pick off a tank. Loses several Marines, but manages to do more than I expected. I think, did he move his tanks in a little bit? I think he did move his tanks in a little bit.
Just
That's why.
slightly.
So
there is a drop, trying to sneak into the main base of Top.
And Top is actually going to drop his own main to try and clean that up. He sees it coming, pulls his SCVs, and I don't think it's going to do any damage unless he gets too close, and he pops the medevac. Nope.
That was kind of a funky situation.
Yeah, that was weird. August, though, evacuates with all of his Marines instead of trying to do as much damage as he can.
It's like the Marines are wishing they could shoot each other through the windows of the medevac. Oh, he's going to catch a tank. August's been you know, he doesn't have a very large force, but he's been using what he has quite well.
He's actually catching up in supply right now, especially if Top keeps donating Marines to the cause, like he keeps doing. And it looks as if August is going to try to take a third, but Top has nothing to do with it, or wants nothing of that. Trying to move in here, but he's going to have a lot of Marines to deal with. The medevacs, though, the tanks are going to just equalize things. Is he able to get? No, he's not going to be able to get a medevac there. Oh, wait, maybe. Oh, so close. And 2 Marines. Never stood a chance.
I'm not sure if it was worth it because he stemmed all of his Marines to catch it, though. There are only 2 Marines in that medevac.
True.
Close trade, though. Here comes another drop by August. And like I said, man, Top, you just can't crack this guy. He's going to lose all those Marines except 2 of them to escape. That last Marine's like, hey, why'd you leave me?
Wait for me, guys. No! Yeah, so August losing some forces of his own, and it's a big stim here in the middle of the tank sieging up. Oh, a huge round of tank fire clears up a lot of Top's Marines, but Top has his own tanks above, clearing out August's Marines, and basically an even trade there of mostly Marines and a couple tanks for both players. And look at this, August, there he finally scans, but too late, loses his tank. There's that vision advantage helping Top a little bit.
I'll give you guys some numbers. Right now, if you look at the supplies, 95 supply for August, 113 for Top, but Top actually has an inferior army. His opponent has a better siege tank count and better Marine count. 65 SCVs to 47 SCVs, though, for Top. So Top has a slightly better economy.
Yeah, he's got a better economy, and although August is trying to take his 3rd base, and he actually has that built, he could move some SCVs down there if he wanted to. Although again, because he is inferior. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. He hasn't completed it yet. My bad. But either way, he doesn't have enough SCVs to really use that 3rd base to its fullest extent.
And Top keeps throwing forces away. I think if he had just been a little bit more careful with his units, he might have been significantly ahead at this point.
Yeah. Now here's the thing about Top. This is Top's TVT playstyle. He always makes really bad moves and throws away his army, and still has more supply.
That's true.
I remember that happened like every game in the Terran vs. Terrans he played when he was winning Code A, and in the past. He always throws away his army, and then yet still somehow has more supply because he's just that good at macro. And here is a drop from August, trying to do some damage, gets a lot of forces out there. Tank seizes up. If he can pick off that tank of Tops, he's in a good chance to do more damage and pick off SCVs. He does take it out, but never mind. Top's Marines coming in just in time to wipe things out. Only minimal losses for Top.
He lost so many SCVs though in that attack.
Yeah, actually, I guess he did lose a lot of SCVs, didn't he?
And here comes the attack for August, actually hitting a lot of Top's Marines. Top starting to play a little sloppy, threw away a lot of those SCVs. His missile turrets were like seconds away from completing when that drop came in, so that was really unfortunate for him. I think he was like, okay, I'm going to put all these turrets up, I'll be fine. I don't have to have any forces here.
Oh, Top charging in to try and finish off that smaller army, and he does take out all the Marines. Can he finish off the tanks? He is going to be able to charge in and take out those tanks. Moving his own tanks in there is not going to get... Might get a medevac with those Vikings giving chase, but is going to continue on and sieging up outside of August Natural now.
And the siege tank count is 7-0 in Top's favor. That's very important in this matchup. Oh,
and he scans and sees that August has nothing left. I think he's just going to attack down this little ramp, or choke point rather, into the natural.
Just has to be very careful. Here come the SCVs, and I'm not sure because he didn't have very many Marines to buffer. Attacking here was the right choice. He may lose some of his siege tanks.
Wow, yeah, he's going to lose all of his siege tanks. August sieging on the high ground, so Top can't even counterattack. And a lot of SCVs with low life are going to survive, and even if they have 1 hit point left, actually, no, they do get cleaned up by the Marines. Never mind. Really losing out on SCVs in that fight.
It almost looked like August came out ahead in that fight, but he lost so many SCVs that I'm not sure that was the case. And Top just using this tiny force with, it's like each Marine has its own personal medevac. Trying to run forward here and snipe some of these tanks. I'm not sure if he should be doing this. I think he should back up at this point.
Yeah, but this is, see, he's going to lose all that. Might even lose a medevac. But here's the thing. Top comes out 40 supply ahead.
Yeah.
Even though he throws away his army, he comes out ahead somehow just because he's macroing like a fiend in the background and has a much better economy as well.
He really does, and that superior siege tank count is so important. Now he doesn't have it because he threw so many of them away, but if he had just waited a little bit longer before attacking, I think he could have done so much more damage. He could have even possibly ended the game. But as it stands, 51 SCVs to 35. Top now has his third base up and running. It's actually scanned right now. His opponent sees it, and August's got to be feeling a little bit nervous about his position right now.
Yeah, he definitely has to be feeling nervous. He's defended. He's kept his third base up. He's got so few SCVs right now. He's not even able to make full use of 2 bases at this point, let alone 3, as far as saturation goes. He's dropping some mules, though, finding at that third, and it looks like a little bit of a drop, ferrying into the third of August. Actually, more than a little bit of a drop.
He is spotted, though. Here comes some counterattacking Marines. Should be able to clean this up. Actually, August hesitates, losing a lot of SCVs. And it looks like this drop will be cleaned up.
That's nice. If you could ever... Oh, he actually... Yeah, he's going to get the medevacs away and saves 1 Marine. Wow. That Marine must be like the Senator's son or something, you know?
He's feeling pretty lucky after what happened to that other Marine earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, so he gets out alive with 1 Marine. But the thing is, if you can engage Marine versus Marine outside of your enemy's tank fire, then you're going to be able to do well, especially if you have more medevacs. So it was a good exchange. If you can trade Marines like that, especially if you're ahead, if you can get to an even trade, you'll be actually more ahead. And he's sparing troops up here in the main.
Oh, that medevac's so low on health. He has to be very careful. It does pull that weakened medevac back. He's trying to drop some Marines on top of the siege tank. I'm not entirely sure if that was the best choice. Nice, does drop 1 Marine on top of a siege tank, which does in fact kill it by friendly fire. This is kind of cute by Top, but the problem is there just aren't that many production facilities to hit. He's losing medevacs, he's putting himself in a tough position. But like you keep saying and keep going back to, Top's macro is so good that even though he's thrown so many units away, he just remains ahead.
Yeah, August, though, is actually caught up in economy at this point because he's been really producing lots of SCVs consistently with those 3 command centers, which means less units. It's why he's in the back foot. Hold that thought. Top coming in here with a lot of forces trying to end the natural expansion. And if he can get around the side where the tanks are not, he'll be in good shape. He does siege up on the low ground, but within range of August siege tanks, August takes that out, but Top may just be doing too much damage. Oh, the third base is naked, and he's going to lose so many SCVs. He worked so hard to build up that SCV count. Now he's going to lose everything. Might even lose the orbital.
I think he should just target the orbital and then leave.
Oh, the orbital goes down.
Yeah, he does take that orbital out, losing all of his Marines, but some of these tanks taking some serious damage as well.
Wow.
In the meantime, Top has a huge new force, as you just saw, run across the map. 4 new siege tanks and about 12 Marines to join them. He's just going to run in here while the tanks are unsieged. And I think this could be it for August.
Yeah, he's fighting with SCVs. His tanks were unsieged, unfortunately, and August GG's. Top takes game 2 and comes out on top.
On top. Look at him. He's tying his shoe. I don't think he was actually tying his shoe, but he was doing something down there. August looked a little bit disappointed.
His macro was so off the hook that he untied his shoelaces as a result. I don't know what. I don't know.
You can't top that macro.
Man, I had a thought there, and I am just not landing these jokes. It's like when you think you're really slick and you go for a fadeaway jump shot. You're like, oh, no one's guarding me. I can just slack off and get this, and you miss the backboard entirely because you weren't paying attention.
It's almost like it's becoming...
That's my jokes today.
Yeah, it's almost like it's becoming a joke that you keep messing up your jokes, and then you just keep
but that joke isn't even very good. Oh, man. So Top coming out with a quick 2-0 victory.
It was so
August.
easy. It was like tying his shoes. Is that what you were trying?
Right, man.
Is that what you were trying to?
And make sure, by the way, that you were tying your shoes correctly. 2 people linked me to this video.
Yeah, I saw that recently
lately, where
too.
you're supposed to tie your shoes correctly, and it's actually true. I actually was a sailor for a while, and so I know my knots pretty well. And there is definitely a right and wrong way to tie your shoes.
That's true.
If you tie it correctly, it's a 2-slip reef knot, and if you tie it incorrectly, it's a 2-slip granny knot.
Well, I actually have all kinds of shoes that you don't tie. All my shoes are slip-on shoes. They're tied, but they're permanently tied, so you just slip them on. It's like every shoe I own.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Come on back in 2 minutes for Zenio versus Choya. That is going to be fantastic. You don't want to miss it.
Give it away. la la.